This video explains how to loop through the rows and columns of a data frame in the R programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the R code. In this video, I will show you several examples, and all of these examples are based on the data frame that we can create with lines 2 to 4 of the code. So after running these lines of code, a new data frame is created and is appearing at the top right of RStudio, which is called data. And we can print this data frame to the bottom in the RStudio console by running line 5 of the code. And then you can see that our example data frame contains 5 rows and the 3 columns x1, x2, and x3. The first column contains a range from 1 to 5. The second column contains a range from 6 to 10. And the third column contains a range from 11 to 15. Now, if we want to change this data frame in a loop, it might make sense to first store our original data frame in a new data object, because I also want to keep an original version of the data frame. And we can do that, as you can see in line 7 of the code. So after running this line of code, a new data frame called data1 is created. And this data frame at this point contains exactly the same values as our input data frame data. So let's assume that we want to iterate over the columns of our data frame. Then we can make use of the ncol function, as you can see in the head of our first for loop. So in this for loop, I'm iterating over a range from 1 to the number of columns in our data frame. And then within the body of the for loop, I specify that I want to change the column I by a different value. So in this case, I add the value 10 to each data cell in this corresponding column that is extracted by a certain iteration within the for loop. So after running lines 9 to 11 of the code, our data frame data1 is updated, and we can see that by printing the data frame to the RStudio console. So after running line 13 of the code, you can see that our updated data frame contains the same number of rows and columns as our input data frame. However, we have added the value 10 to each data cell of our data frame. It's also possible to iterate over the rows of a data frame, and this is what I will show you in the second example of this tutorial, starting in line 15 of the code. So as in the first example, I'm first going to replicate our input data frame because I want to keep an original version of this data frame. So after running line 15 of the code, our new data frame data2 is created. And now in the next step, in lines 17 to 19 of the code, I'm iterating over the rows of our data frame. So in this case, I tell the for loop that I want to iterate from the value 1 to the number of rows in our data frame. And then in line 18 of the code, I specify that I want to subtract the value 100 from my row. So after running lines 17 to 19 of the code, our data frame data2 is updated, as you can see by printing the data frame. And now you can see that we have subtracted the value 100 from each data cell in our data frame. So in the first two examples, I have explained how to iterate over the columns and rows in a for loop. However, it's also possible to use a while loop to iterate over our data frame. And we can do that, as you can see in the third example, which starts in line 23 of the code. So as in the previous examples, I'm first creating a duplicate of our data frame, which is called data3. Then I specify the value I to be equal to the value 1, because I want to start iterating at the value 1. And then in line 27 of the code, I specify the while loop. And in this while loop, I specify that the while loop should continue as long as our value I is smaller or equal to the value 2. And then within the while loop, I specify that I want to add the value 100 to our data frame columns as long as this condition is met. And to change this condition, I also specify at the end of the loop that the value I should be increased by 1. So after running these lines of code, our data frame data3 is updated, as you can see by printing this data frame once again to the bottom in the RStudio console. And now you can see that only the first two columns have been changed, because in the third column the while condition was not met anymore. And for that reason we have only added the value 100 to the first column x1 and to the second column x2. It's also possible to use a repeat loop to loop over a data frame, and this is what I'm going to show you in the last example, starting in line 34 of the code. So as in the previous examples, I'm first duplicating our data frame, then I'm also specifying that the value I should be equal to the value 1, and then I specify my repeat loop, and within the repeat loop I specify that the column I should be increased by the value 100, and then I change our value I so that it is increased by the value 1. And then I tell within the repeat loop, within a if condition, that in case our value I is greater than the value 2, then the repeat loop should break. So after running lines 38 to 47 of the code, our data is updated within the repeat loop, and we can see that by printing our final data frame once again to the bottom in the RStudio console. And now you can see that once again we have added the value 100 to the first two columns, but not to the third column, because at this point the repeat loop was already stopped. So in this tutorial I have shown you different loops and how to loop over data frames. However, please note that loops are usually slower compared to functions in the R programming language. And for that reason, in case you are dealing with larger data sets, you might prefer to work with functions instead of loops. However, especially if you are dealing with smaller data sets, loops can be a very attractive alternative, which is easier to understand and easy to apply. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage, statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video, so you can find it there. If you have liked this video or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel, and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.